So I just want to show you guys my Mother's Day present. There we go. A little too much of a close-up. Sorry about that. Hey BookTube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March, and this is my Bookish week for Sunday, May 19th. I got it right. So, a little bit late for my Bookish week, but I may decide to do this going forward at this time of day instead of in the morning. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. As I told you before, and as you may or may not have noticed, excuse me, I did not have a midweek video, and due to stuff going on and getting ready to move, I may or may not have a midweek video. I'm going to try to shoot for one this coming week, but we'll see. And I don't know if you can notice, but these shelves are emptying. And these are a little less congested, but these are emptying. So I'm actually unhauling quite a few books. It's all fine. It's good. Don't be sad. And what I found out by doing that is it is kind of liberating for me mentally, because I'm seeing all these bags of books that I'm basically culling. And I haven't read all of them. I've read a lot of them, but there are others that I no longer have interest in. And I think one of the reasons I have them all is when, we love to buy books. We love to collect books. And we collect a book, especially me. I'll find bargains everywhere, library sales, used bookstores, books online, and I will buy them at super cheap prices, some at 50 cents to $1. And then eventually they literally just sit there, and I never read them, or I never get to them. I never purposefully pull them off the shelf. So a lot of those books I'm unhauling. What am I doing with them all, you say? I will be donating them for the vast majority of them. But the space on these shelves is almost encouraging to me mentally, because it's almost like decluttering, and I don't collect anything else. And I've been trying to look around me to see what can I clean up, what can I declutter, what can I get rid of. And going through the books, I'm not even a third done yet. And I like it. I like feeling like I'm doing something constructive, and I'm kind of giving myself some breathing room. Because the other part of that is I've watched several videos from other booktubers who are talking about the exact same thing, slowing down their reading. And I for sure have been doing that the last few months. And what I'm finding is I'm enjoying myself more. I am remembering the books when I finish them. I'm really enjoying the books that I finish, because I have relentlessly DNF'd. And I could be 50% through a book and I'm like, why am I continuing to read this? It's not for me, or I'm not interested, or I don't like it. And so I've been slashing and burning books for DNFs a lot. Some that I have reported on Goodreads, some that I have not. It doesn't matter, but for me, that's really been freeing, because I just don't have the mental clutter either. So that's all been contributing to Mental Health May, as you may have assumed. So let me tell you about the actual books. I did finish 2 books last week, and I finally finished The Snow Child by Eowyn Ivey. Now, I've had this book for a long time. This was published in 2012. My older daughter told me to read this years ago, and I've also seen it all over BookTube, and I am the kind of person that when a book gets a lot of press or a lot of spin, I avoid it. I don't know why, I just avoid it because I don't know why. I don't know because. But I did finish this book, and it was beautiful. It wasn't a perfect book, but I really loved it. I really enjoyed reading it. This is the story of Jack and Mabel in the 1920s. They left Pennsylvania, I believe, for the wilderness of Alaska. And, in the 20s. And they are out in the middle of nowhere and have been unable to have children through their whole marriage. And they're starting to get into middle age. And all of a sudden, there are events that happen, and a small child comes into their life. There's a lot of folklore and wondering and winter beauty written throughout this book. Ivy, I believe, lived or lives in Alaska with her family, and she just injects so much about the landscape, about the forest, about winter and snow and survival in the Alaskan wilderness. What people had to depend on. You know, there were no electronics, there was no TV, there was none of that stuff. So these people are in the middle, in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, buried in snow. It's not like you could walk 20 feet and there's a neighbor, not anything like that. So there's a lot about how they survived, what they did day to day. But the language is beautiful, her descriptions are beautiful. When there were human interactions, she was very good at describing those relationships, the inner monologues for our characters, and what brought Jack and Mabel to the same goal and in their relationship with this child. So it was really beautiful, and I really enjoyed reading it. Again, this was one I read slowly. It took me a while to read it, but it's memorable. And I remember really, truly enjoying this book. So very highly recommend that one. This one, look what cover I found for At Home with Books. This is How Book Lovers Live with and Care for Their Libraries. Estelle, Ellis, Caroline Seebohm, and Christopher Simon Sykes. Look at this cover. Let's just honor this cover right now. This is a book about books, At Home with Books, and it is an art book and a visual representation of home libraries and library design. I'm going to try to see if I can find some really great pictures. This picture, I'm going to put it right in front of my head and just take a look. If you are a Downton Abbey fan, that library looks just like the one in Downton Abbey. And I turned the page and saw that, and I thought, oh, that is so gorgeous. Look at this one. Holy moly. Now, this is the kind of thing that is peppered throughout this book. This one is one of my favorites. And it's such a beautiful book, but it's not just about libraries. There's text in here about bookbinding and the art of bookbinding. There is book plates. There is how to organize a library. There is conversation with library designers. That was really interesting. So this is such a beautiful depiction of a reader's life and the life of a library. There are, I just love this one, this room too. I mean, I could go on forever with this book. So if you really enjoy, if you love books, we all love books. If you love looking at libraries, if you love reading about library design and looking at people's collections, this is a gorgeous book. The only thing is I would love to have seen pictures of regular people's libraries, because there's a lot of antiquarian books. There's a lot of really wealthy designer, art critics, book and literature critics. There's not a lot in here about the regular person, the little people's library. So, but it is still a beautiful book. It is still wonderful to read, and another one that I highly recommend. So those are the two that I finished. I have two that I am currently reading, and let's see. The Snow Child I actually am applying for Springathon. I think Springathon might be over at this point, but I don't care. I'm going to read them through May. And the prompts for Springathon were the 4 seasons, so this applies to winter. The next one, I'm not sure which one it applies to. It could apply to all of them. This is Earth and Soul, Reconnecting Amid Climate Chaos by Leah Rampey. If you remember, this is the book that I was sent by a book promoter, and I've been reading it. I am on page 31. So far, this is a really beautiful book. I am so pleasantly surprised that this is going so well. And it's pretty short. I think it has like 170-something readable pages with a bunch of notes in the back. But I'm really happy about this one because I was hoping that I was going to like it, it being an unsolicited book sent to me by a promoter. So I will continue with that one for Springathon. And the one I'm reading for Mental Health May is The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, MD, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. I am actually going between reading the book and listening to the audio. The audio is fantastic. And what's surprising me about this book is how easy it is to understand. It's not so scientific and academic or medical. It is so easy to listen to and to read and to understand where this author is coming from. Some parts of it are extremely difficult because he's describing trauma and abuse repeatedly with different patients that he worked with and people that he studied. So it is very difficult, FYI, but it is very good, and I'm almost halfway through. So, you know, this is another slow read. I will continue this until I'm done through the month of May. And yeah, so I think, does that mean I only have 2 books going on at this time? There might be another one. I don't remember. Or I might pick up another one. I don't know. I'll probably pick up another physical book, and it'll most likely be Mr. Flood's Last Resort, which was my novel that I wanted to read this month for Mental Health May. Now, I'm going to put in a picture of all of the books in bags so far that I have pulled off my shelves for an unhaul. And I use Book Buddy Plus as a scannable book catalog. And so it's an app on my phone, and every time I get a new book or bring a new book into my home, I scan the barcode. And so I have since removed about 400 books from my shelves, and I'm not done. So that just gets me below the 1,000 book line, if that says anything. And again, as I said, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying getting rid of extra stuff. And I will still have plenty of books. I will still have plenty to read. I still won't be able to possibly read everything I own before I die, because I will one day buy some more books. We'll see. I haven't bought a lot in a while, and I like that too. It's saving me money, it's saving me space, and I'm really liking how slow I'm reading. I no longer care what the numbers are. I don't care how many books or what the quantity is, or what. I don't care about a goal or a Goodreads goal or any of that stuff. And if you struggle with that, if you've kind of thought about that in your own reading life, I have to tell you it's liberating, and I suggest you try it, or I encourage you to try it and see how it goes. That is it for me for this week. Let me know in the comments below what you think of any of the books I showed you or talked about, or anything else. Anything if you're reading a book for Mental Health May, or what you think about that. I also thought, this just came to me, I think the unhauling of the books is also part of self-care for me for this month. So I'm really enjoying it. Write me a comment below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.